Mommy! Mommy!
What?
Mom. Dad.
What?
Look.
Yeah, I know you got some more books.
Look at a fat tummy
Oh,
boy.
I didn't think you were going to make it.
Look at a fat tummy boy.
At 10 o'clock one Monday morning, Mr. Happy strolled into the Happy to Lend You Bank in the middle of Happy Town. He took out his checkbook, wrote a check, and went to the counter. Behind the counter, on her first morning at work, stood little Miss Chatterbox. She smiled at Mr. Happy. Mr. Happy smiled back. "Good morning," he said cheerfully.
Mommy.
"Well," said Miss Chatterbox, taking a deep breath. "For the time of the year, it is a good morning, but not as good as the morning we had yesterday. And I dare say tomorrow morning will be an even better morning. But it's quite a good morning for a Monday morning."
Mommy.
And she went on.
Dad.
And on.
Mommy.
It's time for the bank to
Mommy.
close.
Mommy.
Mr. Happy stood there.
Mommy.
His mouth
Bob.
open in amazement.
Bob.
He'd been there for hours.
Bob.
"And now," continued little Miss Chatterbox, "it's time for the bank to close and it's time for me to go home. So goodbye, nice talking to you." And she went home, leaving poor Mr. Happy without any money.
Mom.
The following morning, she was fired. She got herself another job. It was a restaurant. It was at the Eat-A-Lot. It was Tuesday morning, and at noon Mr. Greedy walked into the restaurant and sat himself down at his usual corner table. He was always there on Tuesdays because that day they served extra large portions. The waitress came in to take his order. "What's the soup of the day?" Mr. Greedy asked the waitress. "Well," said little Miss Chatterbox, for she was the waitress, "the soup of the day is tomato, but we also have other soups on the menu, such as oxtail, vegetable, and chicken noodle. But as we have lots of other things to start with, such as..." And she went on and on and on until midnight. Mr. Greedy was still there, listening in amazement.
What can you?
He'd been there
What can you
for
say?
12 hours, listening.
Bob.
"And now," continued little Miss Chatterbox, "it's time for the Eat-A-Lot restaurant to close and for me to go home. So goodbye, nice talking to you." And she went home, leaving poor Mr. Greedy feeling rather empty.
I'm hungry.
Next morning, she was fired from that job. The same thing happened all week long. On Thursday morning, she was fired from her job as an assistant in a hat shop. Miss Splendid went into the shop to buy herself a new hat, but she couldn't. "Oh, madame, I've got just the hat for you, and I know you're going to love it because it's pink and pink is your color," and it was all talk and no hat. On Friday morning, she was fired from her job as a secretary to Mr. Uppity. Mr. Uppity, incidentally, was the richest man in the world. I
Bob.
thought you'd like to know. But poor Mr. Uppity didn't make any money the day that little Miss Chatterbox was working for him.
Mom.
"Oh no, Mr. Uppity, I've never worked in an office before, and it's exciting. Would you like a cup of coffee? And aren't you as rich as everybody says you are?" And it was all talk and no work. But this story has a happy ending. At the very end of that, Miss Chatterbox managed to find herself a job that suited her down to the ground.